If we have this on the screen, please. God is calling Abram to an action plan. If you guys would read with me. Now the Lord said to Abram, go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. It's as though God says to Abram, turn the page, Abram. I've got something else for you to do. Leave that other stuff behind. I have a plan, and you're a part of it. But you know that plan's like a mission impossible. He doesn't know where he's going. God just says, go. And Abraham says, okay. But he says, okay. Now, this is a huge act of faith, of course. But he says okay for two reasons, or for one primary reason, really. And that's there is a promise here. There's two promises, actually, we see. We see it in verse 12:2, I believe. We do. 12:2, please. 12:2 says, I will read this if you'll follow along, please. I will make you a great nation, and I will, what? And make your name great so that you will be a blessing. Yes, be a blessing. Oh, by the way, the word blessing here in Hebrew, awesome word. 3 syllables. 3 syllables. It is baraka. Baraka. You say that? Baraka. Isn't that a great word? How many of you are Star Trek fans? No Star Trek fans? Are you kidding me? All right. This is not going to be seen quite as funny then, but this... It sounds like a Klingon word. For us Trekkies, baraka sounds like one of those Klingon words. You know, blessing, it's a blessing. That's a nice word, isn't it? It sounds like somebody has taken fine sandpaper and rounded the edges on the word. That'll be a blessing for you, Scott. And it's a good word. I'm not making fun of it. But baraka, wow, that's a word that's got some chutzpah. It's got edge to it, doesn't it? Blessing, good. Baraka. Traction. And it's meant to be, baraka, this blessing is meant to be like a hoe that you and I might use in our garden to till up the dry soil and find a hope that's underneath it. And that's what God is going to do with Abram and Sarai. They are going to be the baraka. We'll get to that in a second. Now the very first blessing, the very first baraka we see in verse 1. We see it in verse 1. Now the Lord said to Abram. The Lord said to Abram. In our Tuesday morning group, one of the people said to me, well, how did Abram hear this? I said, I don't know. The text doesn't tell us. The only thing we know is that Abram was so blessed, baraka, by the experience that Abram took action, didn't he? He followed God's call. Last Sunday, one of those special Sundays for me, I've shared with some of you that when we were Be the Church, it was the highlight of my 3 years here with you all. For all of us to worship together as we did, we combined our services and at 8:45 for half an hour, and then we went out into the community. And there were some that went down to the drop-in center. There were others that built a place for a lady in enormous need. There were those that went off to Kmart and other places to purchase goods, come back, pack them up, write notes to our soldiers. Still others raked leaves for unsuspecting homeowners. And so many other things. Well, Elder Bill Shukart and I had the privilege of being part of a ministry at the Evergreen Retirement Community. And the centerpiece of that worship was Bill Seal and our choir. Oh my. We sang old hymns. We listened to anthems. It was just terrific. And at the end of the service, Bill and I were greeting people as they were coming out. And there was this one lady who was walking up to me. She was about 2 behind the one I was talking, and she had this great big smile on her face. And as I got just just about to shake her hand like this and say good morning, she said, "I can't hear you!" She was totally deaf. Dot Yulee told me that over the years, her hearing had just gradually gotten worse and worse to the point where she couldn't hear a thing. She couldn't hear a word that we said. She couldn't hear any of the words of the songs or the anthems. But she had this gigantic smile on her face. And she said to Dot Yulee, did you sing "There Is a Balm in Gilead"? And Dot said, "Yeah, how did you know that?" And she said, as a kid, as a young person, and as a young adult, that was one of my favorite hymns. And although I couldn't hear a word, I just sensed, I just felt the rhythm of that hymn. And she was just glowing when she said that. To experience the blessing, the barakah of God, is the first thing and the first privilege. Is part of our call. But there's more. There is more. Our call, as we did with the Sunday, the kids are great. We are blessed in order that we may be, can be, will be a blessing to others. Verse 2 says, "I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you, and make your name great, so that you, each one of you will be a blessing to others." You see, we are called to bring hope to the hopeless, to those who are living in situations of apathy, those who are in despair, those who are living in indifference. We are called by God to plant those flowers in the dry barrenness. Last Sunday I mentioned that there was a group, some of you, who went down to the drop-in center to serve breakfast to, I think, over 200 people. And one of the volunteers gave me permission to share what she observed was going on that day. And she said that when we first got down there, the band set up with minimal acknowledgement from the folks that were sitting around stony-faced on the benches watching television. Clearly, they had no expectations beyond a normal day at the shelter. As always, Mike Tash opened up with a few words explaining who we were. He said, "We're here to sing the music of Jesus Christ to you. And oh, by the way, you're going to get a hot breakfast as well." Still, scarcely a reaction. Not surprising, since these folks are used to being passed by. But then the band kicked in, and people started to clap a little bit and sing just a little bit. And about that time, this person said Julie Galloway walked in. And Julie walked right up to the band as she was accustomed to, picked up her tambourine and was playing with us. And there was this one man, he was singing and dancing, and Julie, of course, in her inclusive fashion, took her tambourine out and she gave it to the man so that he could play. And now he was part of the band, singing, dancing, and playing that tambourine. And she said, growing in that room in spite of the daily despair was the incredible, powerful presence of God's Holy Spirit. Awesome. So they played about 2 hours. 2 hours. And they played a lot of their favorite songs, but as they were closing up, they played the song, "Let It Rise," one of our favorites. And Mike played it, and he played it, and as Mike will do, he tends to play things over and over.